Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. Before we kick off this week's episode, just a quick ask. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to make sure that you never miss an episode, never miss out on any of the strategies and tactics that we're sharing to help you continue charting your own path to freedom. And if you'd like to go deeper with any of this, we've launched a free Facebook group, which you can join at pathtofreedom.com/group. And we've linked that in the show notes to make it easy for you to find. All right. Thank you again for being here. Let's drop in to the episode. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Path to Freedom podcast. Today, I want to do another brand spotlight. I like to do these from time to time and just kind of highlight different franchise concepts that I think fly under the radar for a lot of people and that are interesting. And so, when it comes to franchising, most people tend to think of food businesses, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, the list goes on and on. We all can, name so many different food franchises out there. If you've listened to this show at all, you know that I really like to highlight some of the other types of franchises that are out there outside of food. But there's one brand out there that has probably about more brand awareness across the United States, and that brand awareness is growing like crazy globally, that you sometimes hear the term franchise associated with this brand, but I don't think most people really connect the dots that it's structured just like a franchise would be with brands like McDonald's and some of these others with, individual owners that are buying in to this larger brand, collaborating, sharing resources, but essentially operating their own local independent businesses, just like in any other type of franchise concept. So that brand is the NFL. We're full swing into football season, and if you're like me, you've been enjoying watching both college and NFL football. And so, you've probably heard different NFL teams referred to as franchises, but what you don't ever hear really is the NFL being referred to as a franchisor. So first of all, when we talk about a franchise, we're talking about a business model where individual owners buy into a larger brand. So take my example of McDonald's. Each McDonald's location is independently owned by a franchisee, but all the restaurants, all the McDonald's locations operate under the same rules, the same brand guidelines, same corporate structure, right? Everyone, we'll get right back to the episode, but I wanted to quickly share a free resource with you. If you're curious about franchise ownership and want to learn more about how countless people, including myself, have leveraged franchising as a way to create more freedom for themselves and to take control of their livelihood, I've put together an ebook. It's called Franchise Wealth Creation, and it's the perfect starting point for anyone that's just curious to learn more about this whole franchise thing and how I've helped hundreds of other people navigate all the steps involved in understanding and researching franchising. So click the link in the show notes, fill out a short form. I'll send you the ebook. I think it's a great starting point if you're curious at all about learning more about franchising. All right, let's get back to the episode. So, they're sharing resources like advertising, branding. All the local owners are, benefiting from the brand awareness that McDonald's carries. There's best practices, there's training, there's SOPs, standard operating procedures. There's essentially a playbook for any McDonald's franchisee to come in, especially if they're new to the system, how to open their McDonald's, how to find the right real estate, how to negotiate that real estate, what should the McDonald's look like, what should the menu have on it, all of these things that are streamlined across the brand. Well, that's very, very similar to how the NFL is structured with all of these individual football teams. So if you look at it that way, each team is like an individual franchise within the league, and the league itself is like the franchisor. And they set the rules, they oversee operations, and each NFL franchise team is buying into this system or this structure that the NFL's created. Even in when you break down territories, right? I mean, most franchise organizations out there have a protected territory model, meaning if someone owns the rights to a specific area, the franchisor is not going to allow another franchisee to come in to that area and compete with them, right? So this is the same way it is in the NFL. And if the research I did on this is correct, each NFL team has a 75-mile radius of their, that's essentially the market that they own. So, you do see some larger markets out there like Los Angeles, Dallas. Well, Dallas doesn't have two football teams. They have two professional sports teams in other leagues. But, you see some of these larger markets where there are two NFL teams, but, they've got that buffer. They've got that predetermined radius or protected territory that the NFL has granted them. We'll get right back to the episode in just a minute, but if you've been considering business ownership, if you're already a business owner looking to expand and you're curious about franchising, I'd love to connect with you, answer any initial questions that you have, talk about a specific franchise, and detail the exact process that I use and have taken hundreds of people through to help them understand franchise ownership, find the right franchise for them, and conduct the necessary due diligence. Click the link in the show notes if you'd like to schedule a free, no obligation strategy call. I look forward to talking with you. And now back to the episode. One thing that's interesting with the NFL is their model is a little bit different. The NFL does kind of regulate things like player salaries. You've all probably heard of the salary caps and things like that. So, there are some kind of rules of conduct in play to, try to keep things equitable and keep, one team in a market to completely dominate all of the other teams by, just being able to completely outspin them. So just like in any franchise, there's guardrails, there's parameters that are involved. But another part of what's interesting with this is that the team owners don't actually fully own their teams in the traditional sense. They're part of a collective agreement where they actually share revenue with the league, which is going to be similar to any other franchise where the franchisees are paying a royalty, a percentage of revenue back to the franchisor. So you've got a similar structure here. They share revenue with the league. Most franchises have a national brand fund where another, percentage of revenue outside of the royalty is also getting paid back to the franchisor. I mean, in the NFL, so much of the value that's there for these individual teams, these individual franchises, is in the brand recognition and the advertising power of the NFL. And each team contributes to that, but they do have some revenue share and this kind of collective agreement in place that's going to make it a little bit different from most other franchise systems out there. But so much of what the NFL tries to keep a handle on, and what's made it such a valuable brand over the years, is they really want to maintain the quality. And that's what you're going to see in any big established franchise organization. Again, take McDonald's as an example. When you go buy a Big Mac in New York or in LA, you're expecting the same quality experience. So similar to that, whether you're watching the Green Bay Packers or the Dallas Cowboys, the product on the field is going to be a similar quality. It's going to be a similar experience. They're playing by the same rules. They're going to have the same standards for each game. And so they've created this massive fan base, this huge group of customers that, if they go to turn on an NFL game, if they go to buy a ticket to go see their favorite team play, they know what they're going to get in terms of that experience. Again, very similar to most other franchises out there. The brand consistency and that kind of centralized control of the branding is key to any successful franchise organization, and the NFL has that in spades. So I just thought this was interesting, right? Where, again, most people, you think of franchising, you think of food. Again, I'm sure everyone listening to this has heard, their favorite NFL team referred to as, the Dallas franchise or the Carolina franchise. But I don't think most people really understand or sit down and look at the fact that they call them franchises because they in fact, franchises, and the NFL is, in fact, a franchisor. I should have researched this before I started recording, but I would venture to guess that the NFL, if you just look at total dollars generated in revenue across everything that the NFL touches, from revenue from tickets being sold to jerseys and merchandise and advertising and licensing, they're probably one of, if not the biggest franchisors on the planet in terms of total revenue generated. So maybe I'll do a follow-up to this and touch on that a little bit more. Hey everyone, we'll be right back to the episode, but one quick note, success doesn't happen in a vacuum. So if you'd like to learn more, you want to go deeper and interact with like-minded people, I'd love to have you join the free Path to Freedom Facebook group. You can join by going to pathtofreedom.com/group and become a part of the Path to Freedom community. All right, back to the episode. But I just thought this would be an interesting one to spotlight, given that we are, now 4 or so weeks, I think 4, maybe 5 weeks in by the time this comes out to the NFL season. So if you're enjoying watching football, hopefully your favorite team's doing well. But next time you sit down to catch a game, think a little bit more about how those teams that are out there on the field playing are owned by franchisees operating under the NFL franchise organization. All right, if you find this interesting or insightful, please like, subscribe, share, do all of those things. Really helps me out, and I appreciate it. And as always, if you're curious about franchise ownership for yourself and would like to get a sense of what types of franchises out there could be a good fit for you, reach out to me. Would love to have a conversation. No pressure, no obligation, just solid advice. So would love to speak with you if this is of interest to you.